Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Don't sleep on charisma. Don't sleep on charisma. Now, what I'm seeing is you got whole groups, in this sector of YouTube really focus on the man's looks, right? Really focus on the man's looks. And, that's understandable because let's be real, looks matter. I mean, let's be real. Looks matter, but, everything matters. So women check out the whole package, as I've said before in a car video, right? But one aspect that I'm just going to focus on one aspect of the package they look at, and that's charisma. Charisma. See, understand one thing about women. Yes, yeah, looks matter, the physicality matters, your material stuff, what resources you can bring to the table, that matters. Basically, sex appeal and nest appeal. And that's just some primal stuff, right? Let's just be real. That's just some primal stuff. When a woman looking at a man at a primal level, she's looking to have his child, right? She's looking to have his child, or a man, she wants to have his child, even if she ain't consciously aware of it. All right. And really, that stays with them for life, even past menopause. They're a little bit more open for some other guy once they get past it, but that's still such a deep thing. They still have that drive, even if they don't want kids. And I talked about that in sexual chemistry. Right, but also nest appeal, because on a primal level, once that child is born or while she's pregnant, she can't do a lot. She needs somebody to build that nest and protect that nest. So that's on a basic level. But then a very important part is the man still got to connect to the woman emotionally. See, yes, they checking out a man's physicality, they checking out that primal stuff, but their emotions are still there. Women have to feel a man. Let me say that again. Women have to feel a man. See, that was that, when people talk about the mouthpiece, all that is really just, it's not any magic words or anything. That's just connecting with a woman emotionally. The prime thing with women is emotion. And that's even primal thing, because it's that emotional part that makes her want to deal with two different types of children or multiple children. That's an emotional connection. If women were more rational or more logical, most of them wouldn't have a kid. Yes, indeed, they wouldn't do a lot of stuff. But that's a big part of the woman, the emotional part, interacting with the woman emotionally. That's part of their thing of nurturing. That's why sometimes you can even see a woman with a guy who might not look like all of that, because he got her through emotion, because her emotion is such, it affects her entire being, how she chooses a man, how she interacts with a man. It even affects her womb. Because the womb is, let me get into that real quick, because I had talked about the sex appeal part, right? If a woman is turned on by a man sexually, it affects her emotions. But it works the other way. If a man can affect her emotions, then he can turn her on sexually. Pimps and preachers know this to a great degree. Pimps and preachers and like anyone in some profession where they have to interact with women and really influence them, they know this. That's why pimps and preachers, if you look at pimps, they getting that woman through emotion. They saying something, they affecting her emotion. Preachers especially, they doing it. Even though pimps and preachers the same thing. I remember I remember one time I had a conversation with a former pimp. And we were talking about preachers, and I said, preachers are pimps in the pulpit. And this former pimp looked at me with a seriousness like he would kill me. He said, why you gotta insult pimps like that? But honestly, they're the same thing. But the common denominator that they have is charisma. It's powerful. It's powerful. And one thing, I'm just got to say this. A lot of guys, especially a lot of guys who focus just on the looks aspects, They act like they dealing with robots. With women, these ain't robots. It's emotion. Indeed, the emotion, I mean, it could affect, let's put it like this, and I've said this, like a lot of guys, I've said this. I said this in a podcast or video, probably both. I said this on a live stream one time, like a few years ago, right? You know, wait a minute. Yeah, sorry about that. Something came up I had to deal with real quick as I'm recording. I'm gonna just keep going with it. But I said because of a woman's emotional nature, that if a man just get in a relationship with one woman, because of her emotions, he's really dealing with about four women. In fact, science is medical science. They've done studies on it. Like a woman, she can act one way when she's in her ovulation stage, and she'll want a man to behave a certain way, but when she's not, she'll want a man to behave in another way. This is very key. This is very key to understand. So this is very key to understand. You got to get this with the women. That's how powerful it is. So that emotion is so powerful. That's where the charismatic thing is. Like I said, when people talk about their mouthpiece, it's not so much a magic word. What you say is how you're affecting her emotionally. In fact, it's such a powerful thing. Like the charisma is such a powerful thing that a charismatic man can actually look better in a woman's eyes. He can actually look better because he's affecting her emotionally. She'll start finding like stuff on him that look good. Like, okay, like when he first meet her, right? She probably be like, he all right. Hell, she might even be like, he ugly. But then he start talking to her. He get her laughing. He get her feeling a certain way. All of a sudden that she started looking better. She started liking it. And in fact, her emotion, because remember, her entire being is affected by her emotion. And her emotion particularly affects her womb. All of a sudden, she starts getting wet. She starts getting wet. All of a sudden, she's turned on. A lot of guys don't get that. But then if you really look at their personality, they don't know how they really interact with a woman on that level. They don't know how to affect her emotions. But that's the very key. But like I said, anybody who doubt that, look at a pimp. Look at a pimp, look at a preacher. You know, look at a pimp, look at a preacher. They know how to affect it. In fact, on a deep level, even those guys who got issues with the concept of game and everything, the dudes who are really good at game, it's just their charisma. They're good at it. Like anybody could try it, but the dudes who are really good at it got a level of charisma. Or, you know, if you in the hood, they'll call it swag, you know, because I'm going to tell you what, her emotion can even be affected by how you dress and everything. That's a part of charisma. It's like whatever, it's the intangibles that will draw a woman's attention to you, or just really just how you interact with it. That's some powerful stuff. That's some powerful stuff. Like I said, it gives you about 2 points with a woman regardless. It gives you 2 points if you actually have it. Now, it's one of those things now, big thing is developing it. They actually got charisma coaches out there. And it can be developed with work. With work. Some people, you got a certain percentage of the population, they just kind of have it from birth. But then other people with work can develop it. But whatever the case, don't sleep on it. Don't act like it don't exist or anything. Shoot, how many women out here have got with some guy and, you know, you be even her own girlfriends will be like, what was it about him? And the woman be like, he make me laugh. It's just that emotional thing. Very key. Very key. Don't sleep on the concept. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.